Dr. Hasna, am I audible?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dr. Kamla.
Good afternoon, Dr. Dil. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Some sort of little communication gap, I think so. 1 hour difference, right?
Yes, that's
I know,
completely fine. Due to the
absolutely.
time difference in my calendar, I have saved as 6 to 7. Right now, I am in Dubai. I saved as 6 to 7. I think this could be the reason behind that. So
Easy.
I apologize for the delay.
No problem. No problem. Let us start and let us warmly welcome you. Let me introduce Dr. Kamala to the audience first of all, and we are starting. We are starting now. Thank you so much, Dr. Kamala.
Yeah,
And
my audio and video is clear, right?
absolutely clear. Absolutely
Thank
clear.
you.
Good to see you. Um, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Dr. Scholars and the research scholars of business analytics. And we have today a wonderful personality in the area of multiple functionalities exactly. Let me formally introduce this speaker to you. Dr. Kamala Devi Bhaskaran, she's having around 14 years of international work experience in industry, applied research and academics. And she is currently the head of industrial relations and faculty in Department of Management and Commerce at Amity University, Dubai, UAE. She holds an executive education in business analytics from Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, USA. And she's a certified trainer to teach innovation and entrepreneurship from Stanford University Program Ambassadors. In the past, she has worked as director at Zealous Events, Dubai, UAE. Dr. Kamala Devi has vast skills and experience in creating and producing and executing large-scale corporate academic events. She has managed more than 120 large-scale international professional events, including business conferences, corporate incentive programs globally. And her PhD specifically in management, and it is from Bharatiya University, India. And she also have the qualifications of MPhil as well as MBA, Jabidin University from India. And her research interest is basically into entrepreneurship, business research methods, business analytics, e-commerce, ranging from theory to design and implementation. She has collaborated actively with researchers in several other disciplines of management and engineering in the areas of such engine optimization, digital transformational technologies in addressing real world issues. She has several accolades connected to what you would say business analytics platform. Sorry. Dr. Kamala Devi has written 3 management books, 30 peer-reviewed international conferences, and journal research articles. She was a keynote speaker in many conferences in France, Spain, Thailand, UAE, India. And this is the speaker's profile. We have got it, and a wonderful personality. And we warmly welcome Africa Business School, warmly welcome Dr. Kamala Devi to have this short interaction with our research scholars. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Dil, for the wonderful introduction. I really apologize for the delay due to the time difference which has been happened. I still have 1 hour time, or how is the situation? Because right now it is 5:17 here.
No issues at all. You can take your time. Entire audience for you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, my dear friends and the research fraternity. It's really a wonderful opportunity has been given by Africa Business School and Dr. Dil and the entire team to share my research knowledge, my passion in research. Let me share my screen with you. Maybe if you are using your laptop, I hope you will be able to take up some sort of statistical knowledge as well, which I will be able to share in some time. If you are using your mobile phone, that's completely fine, because I know you'll be able to see what exactly I'm doing and then able to understand. Today, the topic is predictive analytics from data to insights. We are receiving a data. Everywhere we are receiving a data. That is a wonderful topic. If you go to the health sector, as a patient, now we are having a health kit. Now Apple has come out with various devices, Apple Health Kit, Care Kit, and some research kit. We always try up in our, the physics. So all those data has been sorted out and saved in one place in the hospital. If you just move on to the telecom industry, we are the subscribers who are using the mobile phone and the internet devices. Again, there is a data collected by the telecom sector. They are saving how many subscribers I have, what sort of devices they are using, how much data they are consuming. So they are segregating some sort of data they are retrieving. Just go to the insurance company. Who are the target audience for the insurance, how many people have insured, and again they are trying to predict how many people will claim the insurance, how many will be renewing the insurance. They are collecting some sort of data. The next one, the government. Each and every government, they are trying to have the data about their own citizens, their own residents. They are trying to collect it. Again, the government is trying to consolidate some sort of data. Coming to the finance, take the banking industry. In a banking industry, the data is skyrocketing each and every second. The time you are doing your transaction using your credit card or debit card, using the customer statistics, money laundering, risk mitigation, and venture credit hazard treatment. So in such a way, the finance sector, the data is accumulating. Coming back to the automobile. Now we can see Google is coming up with the driverless cars. And for driverless cars, it needs data in each and every road. It has to predict the data, how many cars are passing by. Again, for automobile industry, it needs the complete data about the entire roadmap, not only about the vehicle. Education industry. Currently, we are in such industry, education industry, the data about each and every student, what is the background of the student, and then they wanted to predict the score, how much they are getting in each and every test, the internal assessment, the external assessment, and what is the probability of moving from the undergraduate to the postgraduate, and the data of the alumni, and the data of the student where they have gone for the corporate, which company they are working. So all these data they have. Coming back to the university, it is really huge. Retail sector, even though whether you are doing the purchase, have not done the purchase, the retail sector, the hypermarket, the supermarket, everybody is consolidating the data each and every movement you are doing in the hypermarket. We are just taking the trolley and moving around the hypermarket. We assume that only cameras are on, that's it, nobody is tracking us. We are just in our own way, each and every move in the retail sector is monitored. So there are, say for example, there are 20 tracks over there in the hypermarket. Each and every track, the way you pass by, the way how much turn you are taking, right turn, left turn, so how many products you are buying. So there is a tracking system in your trolley. It tracks you to purchase this many 3 items, what is the optimal route you are taking. The hypermarket wanted you to take the long route just to go around the entire process. So there is a data accumulating every day. Now what are we going to do based on the data? We just wanted to convert the data into information. That is very simple. Now the business analytics, that is one of the fantastic area. You will dive very deep into it. It is the process. It will try to collect all the data, and then it will sort the data, process the business data, and give you the interpretation. That interpretation could be either in the form of descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and the prescriptive analytics. When you say the descriptive analytics, descriptive, it is about the past. It is about the past, what the data can describe or cannot describe based on the past information, based on the past purchase. We are trying to do some sort of analysis and find out a picture. That picture will help you to predict the future. So we are using the analysis based on the past data. The next, moving on to the predictive analytics. In predictive analytics, we are trying to predict based on the past data. Here we are trying to find out what is the pattern which we are going to obtain to describe the future. Here in predictive analytics, we are trying to use either the regression or the probability models to find out how to predict the future. Here I'm going to take a very simple example. I'm going to use Excel, how to let you know how to predict it for the future, how to predict the future. Let's say how to, if you are a business people, how to predict the sales, how much sales I want to have in the next month. So to get the sales of that particular amount, what is the prediction I have to do it, whether I have to increase my price or decrease my price, that's we are going to see. The last part is the prescriptive analytics. Here in prescriptive analytics, it's a kind of vision or mission where we are going to recommend what need to be done in the future to obtain that particular business goal. To achieve the business goal, what exactly I have to do. So we'll be using the optimization solution or business simulations or the decision tree to solve those kind of complex scenario where there is a high level of uncertainty. Let me take a couple of use cases so that to make the picture of where to use the analytics. Basically, we are taking the Starbucks again, as like other corporates, Starbucks is also obtaining the data from each and every consumer, what time they are purchasing, how many people are purchasing together, if they are employees, how many employees are doing a purchase together in the same place, what is their purchase pattern, what type of coffee they are purchasing, along with the coffee do they purchase any baked items. So they are trying to analyze the behavior pattern of each and every consumer. So based on that particular behavior analytics, they are coming up with various forms. So how many coffee they have to plan it during the weekdays and the weekend. So if the your weekdays is between Monday to Friday, they are trying to predict Monday to Friday how much of coffee will be consumed. So based on that, they are doing the prediction. Again, if they wanted to promote some offers or any the coupons, if they wanted to give it, they feel whether they have to give that coupons to somebody else. The coupons, the offers need to be given to the regular consumers who are visiting the office every day, or to somebody else, or the new visitors, or the new consumers. So they are using the predictive analytics. It is just based on your data, just based on the data you are consuming every day in that particular coffee shop. The next use case is the Procter and Gamble. If you are taking the example of Procter and Gamble, they do market basket analysis. They are very fantastic people. They have a team to work on the market basket analysis. What exactly is market basket analysis? To look at your trolley, to look very deep, scan your trolley. What are the products you are buying it together? Let's say you are buying the bread. The first product you are buying a bread along with the milk. You are buying a bread along with the milk together. So the next, after you buy the milk, again you go to the egg section, you are buying the egg. So the company will be able to understand you are buying a bread along with the milk and along with the egg. So the people who buy the purchase, who purchase the bread, 60% of the consumers who purchase the bread will buy the milk. So again, both the next prediction comes, the people who purchase bread and milk together, so 80% of the people who buy egg and milk, they have the tendency of buying the milk together. So they are trying to do the prediction based on the market basket analysis. Based on this, they try to allot their shelf. They try to allocate each and every shelf what need to be kept. Do we have to keep the products together, or do we have to keep the products in a different manner? If you are keeping all the products together, there are two different scenarios. If they are keeping all the products together, the next time the consumer goes directly buy those products only in that particular location and then come back. Number two, again, if they are keeping all the products in a three different location, they see whether you will be taking the optimal route or longer route. Company always wanted the consumers to take the longer route to buy the product, because they want to have a look at each and every place where you are looking at. So this is use case 2. I'm just showing it might be looking complex, but this is quite interesting to understand. In each and every sector, what are we going to predict? We say predictive analytics. So based on the data, what do you want to predict in each and every sector? Here around 6 sectors has been taken just for our understanding. First, I have taken the travel industry. In the travel industry, what do we need to predict actually? So we want to predict the price. If you check it, if you look for the price, the air ticket price, or the other pricing in the travel industry, it keeps on changing. When you check 1 hour before, the price will be different. 1 hour after, the price will be different. So each and every minute the price is fluctuating. Now the airline industry wanted to predict. They want to keep the dynamic pricing. They wanted to predict based on your IP address what is the price need to be fixed. Here the predictive analytics comes. Number 2, I'll be moving to the marketing sector. In the marketing sector, what do you want to predict? We wanted to predict the sales. We wanted to predict the profit, how much we are going to get. More importantly, we wanted to predict the lifetime value of the consumer. We wanted to see what is the lifetime value of the consumer, how long my consumer will be staying back in my company. Will he stay for 1 year or 2 year? A consumer who stays with me for 5 years or 10 years, will he stay back for 1 more year? Because this is the competitive world. If you want to buy one product, especially online, we have various options. You open up 10 websites to buy only one particular product. If you open 10 websites, you will find out, you will do some your own analysis and close all the 9 websites and end up buying in only one website. So that particular website has the higher value. So how to predict the lifetime of the consumer? What are the parameters are behind them? Number 3, I'm moving to the healthcare. Healthcare, what is the need for the prediction in healthcare? In healthcare, more importantly, disease prediction. What is the disease this particular patient will be suffering or getting after 5 years, after 1 year, or after 3 years? Based on all the test reports will be centralized. The doctor will be able to predict in advance. Instead of giving the treatment, they wanted to give the prediction and they wanted to prevent the disease, how effective the medication is. So here comes the prediction in health sector. Number 4, we are moving to the social media. In social media, what to predict? Every day we are sending a messages, receiving a message, and like n number of advertisements are coming. Have you ever noticed you have browsed something using your Google? After you have browsed some information or searching some prices in airline industry or booking for the some hotel booking or something, immediately you are moving to the other websites or other social media platform. The same words or same hotels you are looking for or the same airlines you are looking for will be always popping up. So they are trying to understand the sentiment analysis, whether you like it or you don't like it, whether it is a good, better or best. So digital marketing follows you the wherever you go. Moving on to the sales. Here the sales, what to predict? Sales, we have to predict no way. Without any explanation, we need to predict the sales. We need to predict the demand. What will be the demand in the upcoming period? All of a sudden, there is a high increased demand of the face mask. How the company is going to adapt, how they are going to, cater the needs of such demand. There is a need here. So there is a need to predict the demand in particular sales scenario. Moving back to the automation. As I have mentioned, in automation industry, I was speaking about the self-driving cars or the driverless cars. In those scenario, we need to predict the traffic. We need to predict what is the traffic. Then only they can create the platform for the cars to move, and then prediction for the drones to create the pattern. The last point is about the insurance sector. Insurance sector, the insurance company wanted to predict the claims. We have 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 people who have received the insurance. So among the insurance, how many people, what is the prediction rate? 1% will be claiming the amount or 2% will be claiming the amount. What is the risk deduction? Any frauds are happening online, so they wanted to predict it. Here comes the predictive analysis. So now you know what is business analytics, what is predictive analytics, how are we going to relate predictive analytics in each and every sector. I'm just moving on to the little more practical session. This practical session, those of you using your laptop, if you are using your Excel, I will just tell you the simple technique. I know most of you might be the researchers. So this technique will be very, very helpful for you for your lifetime. This is a skill we are learning how to predict it. I am just taking the tool, the regression tool, which will enable us to do the prediction. So to do the regression here, this is one of the effective predictive tool. To do the regression, I'm just taking the 2 parameters. Before we are going to the parameters, what are the 2 parameters I'm taking to do the regression? What we need. It's not related only to, we should not assume that it is related only to the statistician or the researchers. No, it is needed for each and every person who wanted to predict the future. We always, you remember, like in the village places, though, used to say there will be a person who always sees the horoscope and say he will able to predict the future, what will happen tomorrow. We'll be always interested to know what will happen tomorrow. So I'll be able to tell you there are two different parameters which we need to focus while doing the prediction here in regression: dependent variable and independent variable. As from the name, we can easily understand what is dependent variable and independent variable. Dependent variable is always something dependent on something. Independent variables are independent. It is independent, but it will try to affect the dependent variable. I will come from the example. We are taking a sales. We wanted to understand what are the different factors which is affecting the sales. So here sales is depending on the price. Maybe if you increase your price, your sales might come down. If you decrease the price, there are probability of increase in your sales. So so price is an independent variable which is affecting the dependent variable. Again, I am taking the other parameter. There is a advertisement. There is an advertisement here. Advertisement is playing a role on sales, yes or no? Yes. Obviously, if they are investing a higher level of amount in the advertisement, there will be a possibility of getting higher amount of sales. If your advertisement amount is low, and then the sales also obviously will be very low. So these are all the independent variable which is affecting the dependent variable. Here we are going to find out the relationship between independent and dependent variable. Based on that, how are we going to decide the future? So which independent variable is effective, which independent variable is not effective? That's what we are going to find out. As I have informed you, sales is independent and other variables are dependent variable. From regression, we'll be able to understand what are the drivers which is having an impact in sales. So the drivers could be, as I mentioned, it could be the price, or it could be the salesman performance. It could be the advertisement. It could be any other parameter which will be affecting the proximity of the shop. It could be the parameter which might be affecting the sales. And which is the most important driver which we need to focus, whether we have to increase the advertisement price or decrease the price of the product, which is the more important parameter we have to look at when we are seeing up the sales. Number three, how do the drivers interact? How do these particular parameters, the independent variables, which is interacting among each other? So that is one of the answer we'll be getting from the regression. Number four, what would be the annual sales? What is the sales I want? Instead of asking like what is the sales this period and what will be the sales next year, we'll be able to understand what I need. So based on that, you will be able to drive. Now I'll be able to share my Excel. I'll stop sharing. I hope my Excel is visible right now.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. See, if you are the students or the researchers or the faculty members, the researchers, whoever is available, the corporate personalities, if you are familiar with this regression, if you are using your data analysis using Excel, you'll be, once you go to your data here, you'll be able to see your data analysis. But if you have not familiar, if you are familiar with SPSS or any other tools, basically if you are not using Excel for your data analysis, what you have to do, the first stage, you just have to go to File. To activate this, you have to just go to Options. In the options, you have to go to add-ins. I'm just clicking add-ins. If I click add-ins down, there is an option of Excel add-ins. If you look at this option, there is an Excel add-in. You just have to go. If you go, there will be a toolbox visible. I hope this toolbox, this dialog box is visible.
Yes,
Yes, yeah,
madam.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So here I am just put the tick box here only for the analysis tool pack. If you put the tick box here in analysis tool pack and click OK, now you will be able to see the data analysis. This is the one fantastic place. I feel like this is the playground to play. If you want to play with the numbers, You can use Excel. I'm taking Excel because this is a ready-made option which is available with everyone. If I'm taking some other softwares, like I don't think everybody will be having that particular software. This is a ready-made solution. So once you have your Excel in your data analysis in your Excel, what we can do, we can use any sort of analysis using Excel. First thing, what I'm taking here, this is just for you, like you can just play using the numbers. I am taking two different parameters. One is the dependent variable. From my example, I have told you, and this dependent variable is my sales. Sales is my dependent variable. I have just mentioned some numbers. It shows the sales amount of the previous previous months actually. The second one is the independent variable. The independent variable, there will be more than one independent variable which might be affecting the dependent variable. So this independent variable will be price. I have just given the price of different periods, and then the advertisement amount which I have spent for the different periods. If you want to add, you can add other parameters as well. It could be the sales performance, I mean the salesman. If you have hired new salesman, you can mention about the salesman as well here in this particular place. And the proximity, whether due to proximity, if it is affecting your sales, you can add the parameter. You can add as many as independent variable the parameters here. So I am taking only one dependent variable and then all independent variable. What am I going to do here? I'm just going to data. I just click data analysis here. In the data analysis, I hope this box is also visible for you, right? The data analysis box which I am using, this is visible, I guess.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, thank you. So I'll just go to data analysis. Here I'm choosing regression. If I'm choosing regression and I just click OK, I'm just going to give the input. This is one of the important places we have to look into. I'm just clicking y-axis. I'm taking the dependent variable, all the dependent variable from A2 to A9 I'm taking. If you look at that, I am taking the label as well, including the quantity sold. I always prefer to take label because in the result we'll be able to understand what is the independent variable and the dependent variable with the names. If not, we'll be getting X and Y, those kind of parameters. So I'm taking the quantity of sold A2 to A9. So I have taken the label, so I have just given the label. Number two, I want to give the Y variable. Y variables are the independent variable. So independent variable, I'm selecting both the independent variable together from B2 to C9. I have taken all the variables. So I just want the output range. I select the output range somewhere here. That's it I did. I have given my dependent variable in input Y range, including the label. So I just checkbox the label as well. The X variable, the independent variable, I have taken the two different parameters, that is price and advertisement. I have given in the independent variable. So output range I have given D12. All I did is that's it. I have not done anything. I just click OK. Now I got the summary output. Now I got the summary output. What is the regression statistics? I got the ANOVA answer. I got the coefficient. Now we are going to give the interpretation for each and every value. What exactly you have to look at it. Whether you are from, as I told you, not necessary that you have to be a statistics student to understand this. All you need is the interest. If you have an interest to dive very deep into analytics, it's much interesting. Here in the regression statistics, I have highlighted only one part, that is R square. R square, it is 0.961, which is 96.2, almost 96%. That is really a fantastic fit actually, because 96 here, if you see, look at our sales, 96% of the variation in sales has been explained through the price and the advertising. So that is the important understanding. So we are seeing like price and advertising plays a major role in the quantity of the amount we are selling it. Number two, this is the interpretation number one. If you have any doubts even in between also, please stop me and please feel free to discuss with me if you have any questions in between. If you want me to explain this part particularly again also, I don't mind doing that. Number two, I'm just trying to give the interpretation for the ANOVA. Here this ANOVA interpretation, again we are trying to highlight the significant value, that is F value, that is the second interpretation I'm giving it. So we have taken the 5% significance. So if your value falls less than 5%, between 0 to 0.05, again it is a good fit. Again, it is a good fit. You don't have to touch any of your independent variable. If your value falls more than 0.05, again, you have to look at the p value here. P value also must be, any one parameter or more factors, there will be more than 0.05. You have to look at that particular independent variable, try to reduce that value, and then, you have to rerun the entire regression until you get a good fit, which is 0.05. Here we have 0.001, which is very less. It is really a good fit. Yes, coming back to the prediction. Prediction, this is fantastic part. Please pay very interesting, attention to understand this coefficient line. I'm trying to find out the regression line here. So in the regression line, I just wanted to find out what is the quantity I wanted to sell it in the next month, in the month of July or August 2020 or September 2020. How much I have to, do the quantity. I mean, how much I have to sell the quantity. Based on that, I can prepare for my the factory and other operations, production operations. Here in the regression line, to find out the amount of quantity we are trying to sell, the first thing we are trying to write the coefficient. The coefficient of this value, that is the intercept, we are getting it here, followed by price coefficient, followed by the advertising coefficient. The first thing we are writing the price coefficient. I have written 8536.213, this value. And here we have a symbol. Coming back to the next value, whatever is the value, plus or minus, I am taking the minus 835.722 given here, multiplied by its value. This is the coefficient for the price, so multiplied by the price. Plus, again here we have a plus symbol, so plus 0.592 multiplied by the advertising. So we have, first we are writing the intercept, followed by the coefficient of the price independent variable multiplied by the price. So coefficient of the advertising variable multiplied by the advertising. So this is the regression line we have framed. All we have to do, so until then everything your Excel will be able to give it to you. Once you prepare this regression line, what happens is you have to keep on changing your price and the advertisement to get your quantity sold. So change your price, either you increase the price, say you wanted to keep it $3, increase the price to $3, maybe reduce the advertisement cost, see how much quantity you are getting it. Again, either increase the price or increase the advertisement cost, increase both the parameter and see how much quantity you are able to getting it. Again, decrease both and then see how much you are going to get it. So otherwise you can freeze the amount. You can freeze, I wanted to sell 1,000 units next month. I wanted to sell 1,000 units during July 2020. So I'll be able to change the price and the advertisement, see how much price I have to keep it, how much advertisement I have to keep it to get that particular quantity. So here we know how to predict the future. Now, what is predictive analytics? Why should we use this kind of predictive analytics? Now we are in a position now here. If you look at my screen, I hope my PPT is visible. So now we know what is the dependent variable and independent variable, and we are trying to give the interpretation. Based on this interpretation, now we know what is the different coefficient regression line to predict the future. So future, this is the fantastic tool. Based on this tool, you can play the number game. So prediction is an interesting part, as I told you. So you have to do the number game. Play the number game, keep on changing the price, advertisement. Maybe if you have a 5 different parameters which will define the this particular dependent variable, put all the 5 different parameter and then multiply it with its respective coefficient, and then connected with your intercept, you will be able to get the amount of quantity you are selling it. So you increase as many as parameter and then you'll be able to get the regression value. This is the final information, the last slide which I wanted to share with you. 7 reasons you need for predictive analytics. Now, why should we do the predictive analytics? Now we know what is the demand, what is the need in different sector. Finally, this is one of the interesting slide to understand why should we need the predictive analytics. First thing, to compete. Now, you are having a company. In your company, it might be 50 years old company, 20-year old company, or 1-year old company. Now we have seen what are the different sectors. It could fall under any one of the sector. So if it's falling in any one of the sector, now you know what kind of prediction need to be done. It could be 1-year old company or 50-year old company. Why do you want to do the predictives? Why should I do the predictive analytics all of the sudden, which I have never done before in my company? Why should I do it? Number one, you have to compete, because we are in the competitive world. We are in a very powerful competitive world. So you have to be unique along with your competitor to show your strength. To compete with your competitor, you have to do the predictive analytics, because without doing the predictive analytics, you will not be able to compete with your competitors. Number two, to grow. If you wanted to increase your sales, as we have seen in the regression, that is one of the predictive analytics tool. If you want to increase your sales to 200 percentage, you have to do the predictive analytics. Based on the predictive analytics, you'll be able to see what should I do to increase the sales, how to increase the sales. Either you have to increase the price, or increase the advertisement, or increase the number of employees. What do the consumers need? So here you wanted to increase the sales and retain consumers competitively. Retaining the consumers is one of the, like a challenging task for the marketing professionals in that particular company. So you will be able to do it. Number three, enforce. Maintain business integrity by managing fraud. If you see here, the compete is for the entire sector, but growth, when it comes to the growth, actually here retaining the consumers, sales is involved, marketing is involved, and the call center people are involved. Number three, when it comes to the enforcement. The enforcement of business integrity by managing the fraud. It involves the business unit of fraud detection. Fraud detection business unit is here involved to find out the fault, because each and every second there will be a graph, there will be a data which will be collecting from you. Once it is collected, if there is a fraud, immediately it will be detected. Your system will show what is the fraud which is happening, because each and every second, each and every movement of the human has been tracked, because we are well connected with the devices. Once you are connected with the devices, you are tracked. When your device is tracked, obviously you are tracked. Number four is improve. They improve, advance your core business competency, how competitive your business is. I'll tell you one example. You are calling your call center. When do you call your call center? Maybe when you wanted to commit something, or when you want to, check the customer service for something, or book your appointment, you'll be calling the call center. When you're calling the call center, you will be always receiving the message. Your voice is recorded for testing purpose, or there are research purpose, or some other purpose. They'll be recording your voice. So once, like the voice is recorded, maybe at one point of time, everybody must have experienced, we might have shouted sharply at the call center representative for something or the other. It could be there will be a damage in your product, or service is not up to the mark. You must have been shouted. It could be the telecom industry, or the retail industry, or the healthcare, or the airline industry, tourism industry. At one point of the time, you don't bother whether your voice is recorded or not recorded. You must have shouted to the call center representative. So once you are shouting the call center representative, when your voice is recorded, the machine will be able to predict whether you are speaking in the soft voice, or whether you are shouting. The customer is in the angry mode. The customer, your call center will be able to analyze. Now the customer who was with you for past 5 years, now he is in the angry mode. So if he is in the angry mode, the company should be in a position to take the measure to reduce the anger of the customer, or you will not be able to retain the customer. So based on that, the information will be reached to the call center manager. The call center manager will transfer the call to the appropriate person. He or she will be taking care of the anger customer. They'll be a specialist in dealing with the anger customer by giving you some offers or coupons or upgrade you to the next level to retain you with that particular company. So here comes the improvement. There should be a improvement. You have to improve in the sense improve your core business capability with the help of the analytics. Number 4 is the satisfy. Now customer, we cannot only satisfy the customer, we have to delight them, we have to give more than the expectation. If the customer is ordering for some product, along with the product, if the add-on, the coupon or the discount or some offer, the additional product, buy one get one, if any other offers has been given on top of that, the customer will be delighted. If the say for example you are booking for the economy class air ticket, economy class air ticket you are booking in the airline industry, if your ticket has been upgraded to the business class due to some situation, due to overbooking, you are traveling alone. So always the people who are traveling alone, there might be a high probability of moving them or upgrading them to the business class, as they are single person. If that is overbooking, they cannot upgrade the entire family of 3 or 4. So if it is a single person, they'll be able to upgrade it. Once you are upgrading it, you will be delighted to travel in that particular airlines. So the company will be in a position, it has to be in a position to upgrade and satisfy the consumer by giving more than what the customer needs. The learn. Sixth part is the learn. Employee, today's most advanced analytics, every company will be integrating the most advanced predictive and prescriptive analytics in their particular company. There are many tools. They'll be trying to apply the tools because they wanted to understand what has happened in the past based on the descriptive analytics, how the company need to be prepared to entertain the future consumers, what need to be given to them. So every company, that's why if you see the opportunities for the analytics are very, very high. Opportunities in the sense you need to just play with the numbers, have the tools. Tools are your playground. The numbers are in your hand. Use the numbers, play using the tools, play in the two ground. You will master. That is what the company needs now, because they want the employees to play with the numbers, using the playground, using the tools to predict the future. So everybody need to learn. Analytics is a multidisciplinary subject. It goes well with all sorts of department. Whichever department you are seeing it, irrespective of any department, it goes well. It's a main dish. It goes with all sorts of careers. Finally, ACT. ACT, that is to render business intelligence and analytics truly actionable. What need to be done? Finally, it need to bring it to the action. One side there will be an analyst who will be doing the analysis, and then he'll be giving out some sort of output based off some data as an input. Finally, they'll be giving as an output. Once the output has been given, it need to be connected. It need to be passed to the CEO or CFO, to take the final decision based on the analytics. Nowadays, CEO, CFO, they are not taking the decision on their own. They again depend on the analytical numbers. They depend on the tools. Based on the numbers, based on the interpretation we give, they are taking the final decisions. So it ultimately, the business intelligence, it affects the entire predictive analytics and the predictive models, the entire business units, how it has to be functioned. So these are all the reasons the predictive analytics need to be implemented. To implement it, we can implement it in our everyday, day-to-day life. This is just the number game. So here I would like to conclude the presentation about predictive analytics. I would love to hear more questions from you if you would like to ask.
Thank you, Madam Baskala. Can we ask?
Yes.
We ask?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, my question thank you first for this information and these skills that we can use. My question is, you gave first some example like Starbucks and P&G. There are some companies that work on B2C, business to consumers.
Yes.
My question, how we can use business analytics on B2B, business to business, like OCP don't work with consumer, work with business to business. How we can use it with big data and analytics tools, and how we can get this prediction also for B2B sectors.
Okay, so how to use the predictive analytics in B2B sector, right? Business to business.
Yes, how to use business analytics and business to business.
Business to business.
In
Yes.
B2C, we can have the data to open. We can get the data, is easily to get the data of our clients. But in B2B, it's hard to get the data of another company. So it's so hard to get predictive and to get personal information of this company.
That's really a fantastic question. I love this question basically because again the data, if you move, if you are speaking with me, if you are recording, everything is a data. Data is not that something like we have to send the questionnaire to the the respondents and then we have to send the questionnaire among the samples and get the respondents from them. It's not only with the consumer. If you look at the B2B, business to business, you can take any sort of business. You are dealing with the other company. Company A is dealing with company B. It could be they are sending an order, purchase order, they are giving the check, they are getting the products and giving it. Everything is a data. If there is a delay in a payment, if they are not coming back again for the next month, for your ordering for the particular sales, again that is a data. So everywhere, each and every movement is data. If there is a stopover over there, again assume that either they are moving to the other suppliers or they'll be moving to the other consumer. The consumers are not buying it to that particular supplier. That could be one of the reason. Number two, the supplier will be moving to the other supplier to get those products. So each and every transaction they do with that in that particular place, again it's a data. Based on that particular data, we'll be able to predict it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhaskaran, for the presentation. I have two questions. Like, what are the measures, changes that the company needs to undertake to be data-driven? Because, some companies, we are in the digital age, and most companies are just undertaking the digital transformation. Maybe it won't be enough to have just data science capabilities to be a data-driven company. It needs more than that. So what are the major changes that the company needs to make, and what are the capabilities that this company needs to be data-driven?
Yeah, so what are the precautions? I mean, what are the implementations they need to do? Basically, it depends on the industry. When I'm talking about the retail industry, they need to know the automation of the devices. Let's say, as I told you, one of the example, they are keeping the devices in the trolley. Now the consumer will no more respond to your queries. They don't want to spend any time to respond to the questions of the owners of the particular hypermarket. What they do, they keep the trolley. They keep the chip card inside the trolley, the sensors inside the trolley based on the movement. That is number one. Number two, based on the purchase, the billings, how many products they are billing it. So you have the name of the consumer, you have in which card they are using it. Based on that, they'll be able to predict it. In the healthcare, if you see, they have to automate it. They have to keep on record all the information, whatever they have about the consumer. As I told you, in the healthcare, there are many devices which has been attached to the body to monitor each and every minute what the patient is doing. So if the patient is suffering from the heart attack, I think in most of the Western world, actually, they keep the elders who are living alone at home, they are keeping such kind of devices in their body. So based on the devices, the hospitals will be always getting those information from the patient. If the patient is falling sick, or if they don't have anybody to support them, this device device will be sending information to the hospital saying that the blood pressure is too high, or they have a higher level of heartbeat. It is automatically transformed to the hospital. So the hospital representative will be able to come back and get the data, get the information about that particular patient, and then they'll be able to take them to the hospital. So if you are taking about the banking industry, you log in, you log out, what kind of transaction you are doing, all the transaction has been recorded. That's the reason if you see you are using a credit card in one particular country, again in the same time if somebody is using in other country, automatically your card will be blocked. How the data has been passed, it has been centralized, they are automating and getting the data from one point to the other point. That is one of the reason. So nowadays the companies are automating themselves to collect and update the data.
Thank you for the response. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, doctor. Thank you for the presentation. Yes. So my question is regarding the traditional way to collect data. For example, my subject is about farmer behaviors using fertilizers. How can I collect data knowing that they mostly don't use the digital platforms?
Oh, it is about farmers.
Yes.
So if it is about farmers, you wanted to collect the data, so you can go for the observation method or the interview method. So they will not be able to read or write to a questionnaire. The best part is go for the interview method. Go sit with the farmers, even though the sample size will be very less. You'll be going for the very less number of samples, but it will be very much effective. Either you can take a structured questionnaire or semi-structured questionnaire. Either you can set the questionnaire or based on the answer, you can just add for some semi-structured questionnaire and go for the interview method. That will be the best option.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your presentation. I have a question about the decision making. So in case, for example, we have the data is correct, but what is the other factors that can impact the decision can be wrong even the data is right? And what is the percentage of risk to have a wrong decision after analyzing the data?
Okay, decision making in the sense, decision in which scenario? Because decision in the sense, there are two types. One is the decision which has been taken on a regular basis, what need to be done. Or one will be taken during the emergency situation. So in which sector you are talking about?
So I'm talking about after having the data and analyzing the data.
Okay, after analyzing the data, you just wanted to understand whether it goes very well with the prediction or not. So in that scenario, what I'll do, the moving average. You try moving average, you might be having data of past 5 years, let's say past 5 years sales, and then past 5 years, in each and every year, you will be having a 12 months. So 12 months, so around 60 months data you will be having. In worst case scenario, you will be having the 12 months data, at least 1 year data. So in that scenario, what I suggest is go for the 3 years moving average or 5 years moving average or 1 year moving average. The moving average will give you what is the next prediction data. So instead of predicting, for the future, what you do using the January to March data, try to predict the data of April data. Already you will be having it. How much sales has happened, you have already. So predict based on January, February and March, compare with the previous year, predict for April 2020 and then see whether it goes well with your actual data. What is the percentage of fluctuation? Based on that, again, predict for the month of May. May has already been over, you will be having actual data. Use the predictive analytics, check for the month of May 2020 based on the past 4 months. See what is your predictive data and what is your actual data. Try to compare how much is the fluctuation. Based on that, again, you can calculate for the next month, you'll be able to understand whether there is a high fluctuation or low fluctuation. Again, if there is a reason for high fluctuation, see, maybe I have given a regression here. See which independent variable is affecting huge. You just try to cut off that independent variable, which is creating a huge fluctuation in your dependent variable.
Thank you so much, madam.
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Yes, it's audible, Mr. Umar.
The first, I want to thank you for this detailed information about the predictive analytics. I have two questions. The first is how I can choose a good detective models. And the second is the number of rows of data impact to efficiency or no.
Your first question is how to choose the predictive model, right?
Yes.
How to, okay. So it depends on your objective of the research. First thing, we need to understand what is your objective of the research. Let's say you wanted to understand the relationship between the variables, which is having a higher, the relationship or lower relationship. You just wanted to understand the relationship. During that time, we'll be choosing the correlation. To understand if the value falls between -1 and +1, closer to +1, we say it is completely positive relationship. Closer to -1, we say it is a completely negative relationship. You'll be using some of the parametric tests. If your research is based on the assumption, either you will go for T test or Z test or AF test, again based on your sample size. If your sample size is less than 30, you will be choosing the T test. Your sample size is more than 30, you can go for the Z test. Again, whether it is the variable is given or not given. There are various parameters based on your objective. I will give you one example. The doctor is diagnosing the patient. While diagnosing the patient, the doctor wanted to understand the patient is not feeling well. So the doctor assumes that it could be due to the vitamin deficiency or iron deficiency, or whether the patient is infected with the diabetes. So he is taking a various assumption. Based on his assumption, he is prescribing some tests need to be taken. So once he has prescribed something, now based on the assumptions, he has created 3 assumptions. It could be vitamin deficiency, or it could be the anemic or the diabetic, whether the patient is infected with the diabetes. So he has created 3 assumptions. Based on the assumptions, he is passing the information to the laboratory. So these are all the tests need to be taken. So the doctor does not bother whether it is a before food or after food. He did not take. He said, this is the hypothesis. This is the test, need to be done. Now, when it passes to the laboratory specialist, actually, they will be taking the test. They advise the patient whether this need to be taken before your breakfast. This need to be taken in your empty stomach. This need to be taken after your dinner. So these kind of suggestions they do, and then they are trying to obtain the data. Once they are trying to get the data, it could be any sort of samples they are collecting. It could be the blood sample or any other sample they are collecting it from the consumers. I mean from the patients. From that, again, they'll be able to derive it, and then they are giving the result to the doctor. So based on the result, the doctor will be able to prescribe whether the value is high or low, and then give the appropriate medicine to the doctor. I mean to the patient. This is how it has to be. So it is purely based on your objective, research objective.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Thank you, madam. I just have one question. You talked a bit about how to convert data into actionable insights. I wanted to know when or how can we convert data into actionable insights, and when to do that, and which data should we consider for actionable insight?
Okay. It's a good question. How to collect the data and how to convert into actionable insight. I will give you other example. Now this is the COVID situation. Now most of the people, they try to avoid traveling. Avoid traveling in the sense, avoid the tourism traveling. Let's say the people, especially, the public, they will be traveling maybe yearly twice or yearly once for your annual vacation, to travel to other country or travel to other states. That is the intention we have. Once you are having your own vacation, it will be yearly once or twice. You have the habit of traveling to other states or other countries to enjoy your vacation. In this scenario, we are trying to avoid the travel. After we avoid the travel, at one point of time, we try to recover from this travel. Now, the airline industry wanted to understand, let's take the objective of the airline and tourism industry. They wanted to understand, when will we get the customers again? When will we resume to be normal? That is the question they have. Wherever there is a problem, again, from there you'll be able to pick up the objective. Your objective is to understand, when will the consumer able to pick up their own tourism point, become their own the air booking, everything. So that is what they are going to understand. Now, how do we collect the data? Get the data from the public. Prepare the questionnaire. The questionnaire will be discussing about how many times will you plan for your recreational trip in a year, once or twice. How many trips you'll be planning? Once you are planning for your trip, like how long will you be staying in the vacation? Right now, why are we not planning this year? Have you planned in the year 2020? Have you planned for your any trip outside? If they say no, currently no, it could be various reasons. You can ask for why you are not planning this year. Either we'll be planning in the month of July or we'll be planning in the month of December. So if you are not planning for your trip during July, do you have any plans to plan any tourism plans during the month of December 2020? So it could be the question. They might say yes or no. Yes, what could be the, in which place you'll be going? No, why? If they are selecting no, why are not this taking this this particular tourism during December 2020? Okay, this is one part. Number two, if they are not going for any tourism trips, they are not planning for any trips in the year 2020, are you interested to plan in the year 2021? So 2021, which is the best period you'll be planning for the trip. So it could be the customers will be of various varieties. They will be planning sometime they wanted to really plan. So get the insights from them. So this is the report. Why are we, any report you are preparing, always you try to answer the question, why am I preparing the report? Who is going to get the benefit out of it? So when if you are a scholars, we are not getting a benefit only for the purpose of the scores or marks. But the business professionals, if they are preparing any research report, they will be seeing it. What is the end use from this report? What is the insight I'm getting it? So any research report which you are preparing, we need to give this report somebody else. This report will be useful for your airline industry, for the tourism company. Based on this, you will try to understand the relationship. You will be able to understand whether you have to create the hypothesis. Once you create the hypothesis, you will be able to test the hypothesis and get the result. Once you get the result, you will be able to understand whether the consumers, they'll be resuming their travel during July 2020. If they know that your result says that they'll be resuming during July 2020, now this is the situation. They'll be able to understand the airline industry. Yes, now 80% of the consumers will be back during July 2020. Plan for all your air hostess, pilots, everybody, they'll be planning the number of flights, they'll be planning accordingly. The destinations, again, they'll be planning for the demand for the, again, 80% of the consumers to be back. That is how the entire loop goes. I hope I'm answered for your question.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions I have?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you for your presentation. So my question is, besides fraud detection, what are the other areas of application of this prediction tool that can be used in the finance industry? For example, for a researcher, and also how can a researcher access the data needed?
Okay, especially the finance industry.
Yes.
In the finance industry, finance again, it's a broad area. If you're talking about the banking and the investment, again, the banks are having the data of how many deposits has been done, whether now they are investment. Now, if you could see the recent article says that now the consumers are interested in the insurance than deposits of their savings. So the consumers are not interested in their insurance policies. They are interested in their and they are not interested in their deposits, their fixed deposits. They are interested in to take the insurance policies. How do they derive the data? Again, they'll be sending the samples to the consumers. What kind of investments they are taking, or based on the data derived from the particular banking industry or the insurance industry, how much it has grown up. The deposit rate has been coming up due to the lack of interest rate, the reduction in the interest rate, and the other way around, there is an increased percentage of the insurance, the amount investment in the insurance, it has been derived. So in that scenario, if you cannot get a primary data from the banking industry, you can always go for the secondary data. Secondary data, they will try to upload, the company will share the balance sheet. Here in Dubai, basically we have, if you look at the site Dubai Statistical Center, DSC, you can just go to Google, type Dubai Statistical Center. So the government is trying to get the data from various sectors. They are trying to give it as an input. So the researchers, you are welcome to pick up the data about Dubai. It could be of any industry. You can just type Dubai Statistical Center in Google. You will be getting the site of DSC. There all the data is available. As a researcher, we just have to pick up the data in which industry we want, and then we can start doing the analysis. If it is a very sensitive information not available in a primary data, go for the secondary data.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for sharing the information. I have a question. Is there a time period after which the data loses its value?
Yes, there is a time period. When you say, when we are talking about in the research, when we are talking about the literature review, in the literature review, we always insist them to take the previous 5 years data. The reason is you are talking about online shopping. Let's say you are talking about e-commerce industry, which is booming at present. If you are taking a data of research papers of 2000 and comparing with 2020, there will be a huge gap. Because 2020 there will be a people who are familiar in using the internet, but they are not familiar in using the online shopping. If I ask you the same question, when did you do your online shopping the first time online shopping? It could be within less than 10 years. I guess most probably less than 10 years or less than 15 years. That's it, not more than that. Because even though we are familiar with the internet, we are not used to online shopping. So the data need to be much closer. Now, if you see everything, even if you want the food, bottle of water, the grocery, even the hospital, if you see here, we can take a teleconsultation. You just have to book the doctor. We don't have to step out for anything if you don't want to go. You can just book the appointment in the call center, and then the doctor will be visiting the video call, you'll be visiting the doctor in person, switching on your video. The same way they'll be switching on the video. See if there is if anything is prescribed, even the blood test, at least you don't have to go to the hospital. There is a blood collection from home option is available. They do come home and then collect it. So if you are comparing your research, we cannot compare it with the 2000 year 2000 with the year 2020. Now, within past 5 years, due to the penetration of internet and the social media, the trends have been changed, tremendously. In this scenario, I always suggest to use personally like past 5 years records for your research.
Ma'am, thank you.
I have another question.
Yes, Mr. Omar.
If I have a missing value, for example, how I can solve this problem? A missing value.
Missing value, okay.
Yeah. How I can solve this problem? Because maybe this will guide to get a bad result.
Yeah, missing value would be possible sometime due to ignorance. If you feel like if you are using some questionnaire, if you don't put it as a compulsory question, you are leaving it as an open, without a optional question, there are possibility for missing value, number one. So if you really need that particular data, number one, keep that question as a mandatory question. Either you are using a Microsoft Forms or Google Forms, anything, there is an option to keep it as a mandatory question. So without filling all those important questions, the primary question, they will not be able to submit any sort of data. That is number one. Number two, if you are not keeping it as a mandatory question, again, you will be missing the link. You will be ending up missing the data. Again, while we are validating the data, see to it, if there are more missing value of only one respondent, we cannot fill all the missing data. You have to ignore those particular sample itself because of the complete missing data. That is the only option. If there are only one missing value, so based on other parameters, maybe in regression, we have a K cluster. So using K cluster, we'll be able to take the average of the closer cluster group and then fill the missing value.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions I have?
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My question is related to some of the risk factors businesses may face during the process. What are some of these risk factors businesses have to take into consideration when dealing with predictive analytics?
Yes, the risk is involved in all the parameters, all the factors. The risk is involved. Maybe when considering the risk situation, either they have to at this scenario, if I'm keeping this scenario in mind, the people will not invest more amount in the luxury items. So in that scenario, people, the factory, involved in the luxury products manufacturing, they will try to, reduce the understanding the predictive analytics for the next 6 months. There won't be any production. People will not buy for the next 6 months. It will take 1 year to recover from this period. Again, what happens is, the company, the luxury brand manufacturing company will try to reduce the employees, reduce the raw materials, reduce the entire supply chain, to maintain at least the break-even point without profit or without loss. So if they know what is going to happen tomorrow, they will try to cut off everything today. So tomorrow, once it recovers after 1 year, they'll try to take up the new employees, try to get the new suppliers. As you said, B2B, they try to take the new B2B contracts during that particular scenario. So, once they know what is going to happen for the next 6 years and 1 month, it's going to be a huge risk at this point of time.
Thank you, Madam.
I hope the questions are finished from the scholars. Anybody would like to add up any questions? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the participation, dear audience, and thanks for Dr. Kamla from Amity Business School to have a short interaction with us. I hope your mentoring to our students will be continued, and through online or offline or some sort of platform which is coming up with this uncertain world. So hopefully the COVID-19 situation will be cleared by around 1 to 2 years duration. And during the time, the only option with us is digital platform now to continue the education. And I hope your continuity of mentoring to our research scholars will be there. And on the behalf of Africa Business School, and especially from the Dean of Business School, and he is exactly into business analytics. So he might have enjoyed your guest lecture, specifically through digital platform. He might have observed it. His name is Dr. Yunus, and he is totally into business analytic platform. And he's working in industry and he's working in business school also, 50-50. That's what it's going on. So thank you so much, Dr. Kamla, for having this short interaction with our students and orienting our students towards the best of learning to business analytics. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm glad to be connected with the research scholars in the future as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Dil, for the opportunity.
Sure, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.